Here we go. This is Klonoa 2 Lunatia's Veil, the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie Series version, released last July. I'm going to be doing any % hard support mode. So hard is the no damage challenge. We only have one max heart and we take 1 damage. So anytime we take damage, that's a life lost. We only start with 1 life. We can gain extra lives, but they're a bit tricky to find. But we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is the opening level, Sea of Tears. This is our companion, Popka, and Popka is what makes this the support mode run. There's 2 major categories for Klonoa 1 and 2 on the Fantasy Reverie series. There is non-support mode and support mode. Support mode is used by having a second controller plugged in, and you control Popka. The only control you have over him is you use him to give Klonoa this boost up in the air. And as I say, normally this is done using a second controller. For this game, because this is on PC, I am able to manipulate my controller bindings using a tool called Remaster so that I can control everything from my one controller. It's completely legal for speedrunning and is a massive advantage. It means we don't have to have 2 controllers plugged in. And, you know, runners aren't going to get RSI or, you know, injure themselves by trying to manage 2 controllers at once. When I used to run this game on the PlayStation 2 version, I did have to use 2 controllers at the same time. And after, you know, an hour and 40 minutes of running through the game, it got quite stressful on my hands. So here, normally it would be quicker to just stay on the very inside edge here. I'm going to do this now, but because this is a hard run, I only start with 1 life. And if I run out of lives, then I will get to continue. I will be booted back to the world map, which we haven't seen yet. And at that point, I will have to restart whatever level I'm on. It won't be a checkpoint or anything like that. I will restart from the start of the level. So what I want to do throughout this is try and get as many extra lives as I can. Particularly later on, there's one level in particular where we're actually going to take some deliberate deaths. If I've got enough lives to warrant doing it. If I haven't got enough lives, then I won't. One of the ways of getting extra lives is by collecting 100 dream stones. These gems that I'm picking up, they're called dream stones. 100 of those is an extra life. So whenever it is not too much of a hindrance, you know, not too much out of my way, I will be grabbing extra gemstones to ensure that I can get as many extra lives as possible. Because I really, really don't want to take a continue. This second area, this is Biscash Island. This isn't this isn't a level. It is only a cutscene, and we'll be returning to Biscash Island basically every time we need to advance the plot. Every time we need to know where we're going next. And where we're going next right now is lalakusha, our second level, and this gives you a really clear indicator of just sort of the art style and how pretty and beautiful this game can be. And it has some wonderful music to go with it. So what we're doing here is there's something wrong with the world. We've already met our main antagonist. Well, we've very briefly had a glimpse of our main antagonist. And so we've decided that we're going to go and see the priestesses. The priestesses are going to be able to tell us what's going on, why, and maybe what we can do about it. So we're going to travel through lalakusha to reach the priestesses' church, I suppose it's a church. The game never really specifies, but that's where we're going. Klonoa, Popka, and our other companion, Lolo. Lolo is a female character. You might see her through in some of the cutscenes, but we will be skipping through cutscenes very quickly. And Lolo is a priestess in training. The reason you can't see her right now is because she resides inside the ring that I'm carrying. She, with her priestess power, she is able to put herself inside the ring that we're carrying, and she's the one who's actually, you know, making us fire like this. We're basically instructing her to do that, and she's the one firing. So we won't see her through much of the game. But she's basically telling us what to do. Now here, I wanted to try and grab that moo. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite quick enough, so I'm going to throw another one, grab this one, and we're going to use Popka and this moo to completely abuse the 2.5D nature of this game. Popka is only supposed to be there as support. It's supposed to be, you know, if you've got, you know, your little brother or sister wants to help out when, you know, when you're playing this game as a kid. And, oh, here we go. I'll let you see who Lolo is. There you go. That's Lolo. She lives in the ring. There we go. And yeah, you know, your little brother or sister wants to help you out and play the game with you. So you give them the second controller. Whenever you tell them to say, you know, jump, they push the button. As speedrunners, we can really abuse Popka. We can, you know, go around the world in a way that we not really supposed to, and you know, find big massive shortcuts, which is really nice. And there's other things we can do with them as well. There's a couple of glitches later on which are really cool, that are exclusive to the support mode category of this run. We're just coming into the final room of this first level, lalakusha. I'm going to grab this critter here, jump over here. The 2.5D is part of the game design. It is not just we're abusing it. We do also have to just use it as well. So here I'm going to... Oh, I just missed that. Grab another one. Come on. There we go, that'll do it. So yes, the 2.5D nature of the game is part of the game design, and the game utilizes some of the tools that it provides very, very well. One of the times that we're really going to see how that works is with the bosses. The bosses tend to be in the foreground or in the background a lot of the time. And actually, the very next thing we're going to do is we're going to fight the first boss. Fulgren, the armor beast, is coming up next, and this is going to be a really good example of how we have to interact with the background as well as the plane that we're on. A lot of the bosses in this game are in a they have a traditional ring style fight to them. So the boss is going to be in the middle, and we're going to run around the outside and hit him. That was really nice RNG there to get that first hit off straight away. Oh, he's being very oh, that wasn't quite so kind on that last hit there. But yeah, there's no RNG in any of the levels in Klonoa. All the timings of everything in the levels is always set. There is a lot of RNG in the boss fights. So I'm going to, and it's mainly from like where the enemies that you're going to throw spawn. You know, sometimes they'll spawn really quickly. Sometimes they'll spawn, you know, on the other side of the arena. Sometimes we can get a really quick hit off like that. That was really nice. For this, we've got one more shot. He's just a little bit more angry now. Beautiful. That was a really nice fight. RNG was very much on my side there. We'll let Klonoa do a little pose at the end there. Look at him, he thinks he's the bee's knees. That is our main antagonist. That is Leorina, the Sky Pirate, and her trusty companion, Tat. And we're going to get to know Tat very well in the next area of the game. We're going to go back to Bagaji. He's going to tell us where to go next. And the place we're going to go to next is our first kingdom. We're going to go to the Kingdom of Jolions. And this is a kingdom of joy, of fun, laughter. It's basically one big, massive fairground. And this first place that we're going to here, Jolion Plaza, this is just a cutscene. In this cutscene, the element that we gained by ringing a bell after defeating the previous boss, Tat has come and stolen that element, split into two pieces because Tat is able to do that, and has ran off to different sections of the park. One of them went off into the jungle slider, and we're going to chase Tat down. It doesn't matter which level we have the option of which level we do first. Doesn't matter which one you do, whichever one you do. The Tat who has the element will always be the second one. The cutscenes are the same, but they just, you know, change the location and the color of the Tat that we've been chasing. Just gotta be careful going over that spiker there. Gonna use Popka to get over that one. Remember, this is a hard run. We only have one hit point. Any hit is an instant death. This differs from the normal difficulty. Normal difficulty tends to be the most popular difficulty, mainly because hard is, you know, quite the challenge because of the only one hit. But also on the original PlayStation 2 version of Klonoa, there were no different difficulties, and normal is the difficulty that matches the original PlayStation 2 version. So that's why you'll tend to see that normal is the most run difficulty. No one really touches easy because it's like ridiculously easy. At the moment, I have 1 heart, and 1 hit will deplete that 1 heart. On normal, you have 3 hearts, and 1 hit will deplete 1 heart. On easy, you have 5 hearts, and 1 hit will deplete a third of a heart. So you actually have 15 hit points on easy. Very, very much made for kids. Here, I am going to go a little bit out of my way to grab some gems, because they're relatively easy to grab. Those blue gems are worth 5, so always great to grab those if I can. And try and start building up a pool of extra lives. I should probably explain what kind of level this is. This is what we call a slider level, just because the first level is called Jungle Slider. And as you can see, we're on a surfboard, and that's it. You can kind of gather the rest of what's going on from the gameplay here. Grab some more gems. And for the most part, with the slider levels, particularly the first 2 or 3, they're a little bit more relaxing. You know, they're not overly taxing. Towards the end, they will become a little more taxing. It'll get a bit more interesting. Obviously, this is only the 3rd level of the game that we're on right now. I'm gonna avoid those guys, and I'm gonna just slide around those. Right, we're coming into the final room, and now it is time to catch Tat. So Tat is now joined in. There he is, over there. I'm gonna grab the checkpoint just on the safe side. No, I do want to keep Popka out just in case. And in this case, what I want to do is I want to just go straight forwards as much as possible, making, you know, only small little turns to adjust my position slightly. But for the most part, I just want to be going straight forwards, because Klonoa does slow down when he's turning. So even as we come to this big turn, I'm not even going to like turn into the turn or anything. Just keep going straight forwards, and it should now mean that as soon as I get past this cactus, I can grab Tat. There we go, perfect. And that, I believe, is actually a gold split. Nice. Not by a lot, but it was a gold split. I'll take it. All right, so that Tat did not have the element. We now have to go into the fun park to find the other Tat that does have the element. So in this level, we are introduced to some of the puzzle elements of the game. The first one, that one there, is a switch. Might not seem very puzzling right now, but they do get a lot more difficult, believe me. Here there's a little cutscene that gives us a tutorial on an enemy called a Keton, which is like a flying helicopter enemy. We're going to ignore it because we can just use Popka. Again, we use Popka and that moo there to just go around the area like that. I've got another switch here, so we're going to pop up to there. Completely ignore the moves that are in here. You know, the enemies that are in here are here to help us get through these puzzles, and we're just going. Now we've got Popka. We'll just breeze past it. And that's the major time save that you get from a support mode run. This is a new enemy. I believe this enemy is called an Irving. This is the Keton. This is the helicopter enemy that we skipped the tutorial for and then didn't use because of Popka. And there's our next destination is that haunted house there. We've got another switch. There's Tat. And now Tat thinks he's ever so clever because he's blown up the bridge. Oh, it's going to be even more difficult to get across. Well, no, not really, because now that's actually helped us because we can just use Popka to get up there instead. And we're going to go into this very spooky haunted house. Ooh. It's not that spooky. Although Lolo is absolutely terrified. Use Popka to get over to here. These are things that are floating around. I haven't really interacted with them, and I won't be interacting with them for the most part. These are Mommet doll pieces. There are 6 Mommet doll pieces in every level, and they unlock 2 bonus levels. If you're ever interested, there is another category of this game that's only recently been created called All Visions, which requires you to do the 2 bonus levels that are in the game, and as such, you must collect all of the Mommet dolls throughout the game in order to unlock them. I've at the time of recording, I have the world record on speedrun.com, but that record has already been beaten. It just hasn't been verified. Oh, and that's only on normal. I have not touched that. I have not touched that category on hard. That is not something that sounds like a lot of fun yet. Here we're going to keep this move so that when we go into this next room, we can again completely ignore all of the mechanics of this puzzle and just do it ourselves. Don't use the whirlwind, don't touch the flying moo, don't touch the giant Franken moo that's there in the middle. We just do the puzzle ourselves. Just like, now we found our own way through this. Now we're going to do our first mini-boss of the run. Now, in the original, mini-bosses didn't have names, and they gave the mini-bosses names in this one, and this mini-boss has the quite literal name Ghost Balloons. That is the best they could come up with. But it wasn't really Ghost Balloons, it was Tat in disguise. Oh, who'd have thought? Going into the final area of this level, going to grab that Irving, and I will get the gems there, or the dream stones, I should say. Sorry. And now we have a really bad example of Klonoa being extremely irresponsible and, you know, running on roller coaster tracks. Don't try this at home, kids. Very, very dangerous. Very irresponsible. Do not run on roller coaster tracks. If you're gonna go to a roller coaster, you know, arms and legs inside the car at all times. Don't follow Klonoa's. You know, this is a game designed for kids, and Klonoa is a really bad influence. You know, running on railway lines, chasing cats. So here's Tat again. We're just gonna chase Tat down so we get to here and grab him. Wonderful. That was Jolion Fun Park. I believe that's another gold split. It was lovely. All right, how about another boss? No carnival or circus is complete without a clown. We are going to fight what I always regard as my favourite and least favourite boss at the same time. This is Leptio the Flower Clown. He is my favourite boss because I love his design. I love the noises he makes. He's my least favourite boss because the RNG can be really annoying, as it was just at the start of this there. I need to throw a move across the other side like that. Now, in this stage, I need to keep him moving. I've got to keep hitting him. If he rolls around too long without me hitting him, he will reset. And we'll go back into that first phase where he was, like, jumping up into the air. Whoops. This is bad. This is bad. Oh, phew, I got him. That was very lucky. He nearly stopped there. Right, we're done. Ooh. Oh, that is not quite frame perfect. To grab, if you grab a moo whilst they're supposed to be disappearing, they'll do that. Here, I'm not going to throw the moo. There we go. I'm going to throw the moo now. It was very important I didn't throw the moo until the other moos had spawned. Otherwise, it wouldn't have progressed. Basically, I'd have triggered him rolling over, but other moves wouldn't have spawned because they weren't supposed to spawn yet. So that's actually a really good time save to grab that. We'll grab that move, throw him. Excellent. One more hit and this boss is done. We've made up for a slightly messy stage 1 with a really fast stage 2. So he's going to jump over as soon as he gets close. Throw, and boss defeated. Very nice. That was a really, as I say, a bit of a sloppy phase 1, just because RNG was not on my side where the move spawned, but a really, really good phase 2. I was really pleased with that. There's the next bell. We ring the bell and we get another element. And we're now done in the Kingdom of Jolion. So, as before, it's back to Baggagy to learn what we're going to do next. We just unlocked Mommet House, which is where all of the bonuses and secrets and unlockables are kept. We're not going to visit there. It's not part of this run. That's an any percent and all. Sorry, that's a 100% and all visions area. So now, in complete contrast to the previous area, Kingdom of Jolion was, all about fun and laughter and joy. This is now the Kingdom of Volk, and Volk is a kingdom that is always at war. The citizens don't know why they're at war. They're just always at war. There's conflict and violence, not like proper on-screen violence. This is a 3+ game, I think. So, it's very, very, very cartoon violence. So, as I say, they're always at war. They don't know why. And instead of, the really funky, carnival sounds, we get this wonderful jazz track instead. And it's just a really good example of the different styles of music, of design that's in this game. It's really, there's so much to it. The other nice thing about the music, particularly in this level, is it's dynamic and it does alter with the environment. So whilst we're down in the sewers here, it's all very sort of grimy and low-key, but as we exit, it really picks up. Adds some extra instrumentals, and it's nice that we have that dynamic, and that's present in the PlayStation 2 version. It's not exclusive or redone for the Fantasy Reverie series. It's always been the case. So we start to see some of the war and violence that's been going on in this place. Constant bombings and enemies attacking each other. We're actually only 3 Dreamstones away from an extra life, so that'll be nice to have. We start to see some more of these giant enemies. I'm going to use Popka here to try and ignore as much of the environment as possible. There we go. Anytime that we're stopping to, we're stopping Klonoa from progressing forwards by like waiting for him to drop down onto a trampoline or something like that, that's time we're losing. So we're going to use Popka as much as possible to cut out that. Oh. Didn't quite activate that Popka jump at the right time, but it didn't actually slow me down. Grab the Irving. Again, ignore all the enemies that are there so that we're supposed to be able to hop up and grab it. Let's grab this Herbal. Oh yeah, this is another new enemy. This is the Herbal, and as you can see, when we do the double jump with him, instead of bouncing off of him, he charges an electrical attack up into the air, which allows us to break through boxes. Very, very useful enemy in some puzzles, and there is one boss later on, which is fought heavily using Herbals. It's a really interesting boss fight as a result. Up onto the roofs, nice and safe up here. Again, don't go running over rooftops, kids. Klonoa once again showing how irresponsible he can be. One thing that this game does do very well is it recycles levels. This is the first level that we are going to revisit, but whenever it recycles the levels, it does so in an imaginative way. It gives you something new and different. There's some sort of gimmick that goes with them, which I'll talk a little bit more about when we actually get into those levels. But some of the levels we've already done, we're going to revisit. The opening level, Sea of Tears, we're going to go back to that one. The second level, Lalakusha, will be returning to that level as well. And there's a couple of others. So a couple of others, one other that we haven't seen yet. Klonoa has some wonderful noises and catchphrases. The language you're hearing isn't a real language. It's called Phantomilion, named after the first game, Klonoa Daughter Phantomile. But it's kind of, you know, it's got sort of some influences from Japanese and things like that. Also, you might not... Oh, I'm going to use Popka there just to make sure I don't get into any problems there. Oh. Oh, just didn't want to get hit by one of those cannons. Whew. Final room, then. And we're gonna grab one more of these Irvings to get right up into the air. And oh no, not train tracks! No, Klonoa, not again! Oh, it's okay. He's gonna stand on top of the exhaust fume of this. That can't be good for Klonoa's health. Like, no, Klonoa, come on. Just bad influence on kids so much. Kids, don't play this game. It says 3+, but Klonoa's a really bad role model. You may also be able to notice that there is a little Namco Easter egg on Klonoa. This game is made by Namco Bandai, and if you look very carefully at his hat, you'll see that Pac-Man is on his hat. Now, Underground Factory, this is the first level where we really start to see some of the cool glitches that we get in the run. So the first one's coming up here. I'm going to use Popka and this to make sure I don't hit the floor. I'm going to super bounce, use Popka again, and we haven't quite lined up with the floor, so we're going to go straight through the floor, land on this platform down below, and we just skipped about 20 seconds of the opening of this level. That was perfect. The super bounce that I did, for some reason, it's the same in the PlayStation 2 version. When they ported it across to well, with the remaster, they kept it. There are 2 buttons for jump in the game. X and triangle both perform a jump. And as a result of this, if you're supposed to jump off of those trampolines to gain height, and if you use 2, if you push both buttons at the same time, you will instead do what we call a super bounce. Here, I'm going to use another trick about staying up in the air and not touching the floor to despawn a door. This doorway that we're going through, there should be a locked door. There's a key on the other side of the room, and that key, we were supposed to go over, get it, and come back. But for some reason, the way the game works, certain objects in the world will spawn when you hit a certain trigger that's on the floor. And if you avoid that trigger, you can avoid those things from spawning. So, like with the floor when we did the super bounce, I didn't touch the bit of floor where that trampoline was. I only touched the trampoline, and hitting that bit of floor is for some reason the trigger for the next area to sort of load in and for the geometry to work properly. So that's how we were able to do that. There's a bit of floor that we avoided in the previous area, and that's how we stopped the door. Here's what the door should look like, and we'll go on through. Grab one of these fairies. These fairies double the gem count of any gems you grab. So every single gem that I just grabbed there was doubled. A bit of a long, painful room, this one. Gotta just keep coming back here, grabbing this moo and breaking these blocks. But luckily there's 15 gems behind them, so we'll take that. Oh, little drop, and now we're on this little on-rail section. It's not really much going on here. You just follow this. It's not the worst on-rail section in the game. There's another much longer one later on. So just going to make sure that we don't hit any of these exhaust fumes here. We're going to come up to another mini-boss, and then the next mini-boss, as I said before, the mini-bosses didn't have names in the original, and when they remade or remastered it, I should point out this is a remaster of the original. We do believe that it's still using the original game's source code, because you know, so many of the tricks and stuff that were available in the original work exactly the same way in this one. So it is a remaster just ported to Unity. But this mini boss is called Super Tatbot, and I like to think I've no evidence that this is the case, but I like to think that Super Tatbot is named after Super Tazbot from GDQ. Another random boss, the cat heads that I'm hitting here are popping up and down randomly. That wasn't too bad in the end. Pretty pleased with that. And we are now nearly done with this area. We're going to hop up here, grab a bunch more gems in this room. I really like this room because of how many gems there are. Yep, got that one as well. That's nice. Gonna use Popka here. Completely ignoring the platform that we were supposed to be just riding on. Got to be careful here. There's another instance here of stuff not spawning, and it hasn't spawned. So I need to pop down here. I'm gonna go this way. Yes, it's working now. There is a cannon at the top of the next. At the very top of here, there's the cannon, and that cannon cannot spawn. At first it didn't, and the reason I knew that is because the conveyors weren't, the conveyor belts weren't impeding my movement. If the conveyor belts are impeding your movement, it means they've spawned correctly. If they don't, it means they haven't spawned correctly, and the cannon won't either. So I knew immediately that something was wrong, and I just needed to go back and try and trigger it. We've got no idea where the spawn point is for that cannon and those conveyor belts. It's a complete mystery. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and if you get up to the top and it's not there, you have to go all the way back down to the bottom and then go back up and hope that it's working. It is nice that we have since discovered that the conveyors are also tied to it, so we have a very quick indication of whether it's worked or not. And that's it. That's the end of Underground Factory. Very glitch-heavy level. Really funky level, that one. And here we are at the power plant in the Underground Factory. And the reason we've been to both of these areas is switch off the power because Liarina has been building a machine to try and replicate the ring that we're carrying, and we've switched off the power. But now the town security bot, the mobile tank Biscash, is attacking us. For this bot, oh, sugar. For this bot, he's going to be a bit mean. I'm going to miss the first hit on him. There we go. That's better. As you can see, we're going to just jump up in the air and get over the top of him to hit his weak spot, which is on the top. It's really nice that the game does give us these big, massive, not necessarily glowing weak spots, but really obvious weak spots. One more hit and we're out of phase 1. Phase 2 is more of the same, though he's going to go into the background briefly here. I'll wait for him to start moving forwards. Hop up and slam. It's going to bounce up in the air. He's now going to start throwing some missiles at me, so I just got to be a bit careful that I don't get hit by a missile. And one more hit, and that is the mobile tank Biscash. Slightly slow, just because I missed that very first hit. Nice. Tank is destroyed. I'm sure we won't be seeing him again. So from there, we now are going to do our first backtrack mission. We're going to go back to Volk City, or as it's now called, Vulcan Inferno. The reason it's now called Vulcan Inferno is by, you see that in the map there, there's a really big, what looks like, nuclear power plant. It's never stated that it is a nuclear power plant, but certainly it is some sort of power plant, and basically the whole place is now going into meltdown because there isn't any power to help regulate the energy that's there. So, a load of this area is now on fire. We can't just slide down here like we did the first time round. And it's now our job to get back to the power plant in this area to switch it back on so that there is enough power to maintain the reactor, I suppose is what you'd call it. As we If this was on normal difficulty, well, I would have been using damage abuse to just skip through a lot of that area. But with it being hard, nope, can't do that. So we just have to sit and wait. And as you can hear from the music, it's all a lot more frantic now. So the layout of the level, you know, we're going to run through it pretty much the same way as we did the first time round. It's still the same, but the game, you know, mixes it up enough that it doesn't feel stale and repetitive. And you might be thinking it hasn't. There's some fire, but you know, it's still repetitive. Well, that's about to change. You remember that tank? Yeah, it's not dead, and it's now chasing us with a laser beam. So now we have to run away from it. Let me. Oh, nice! Got the gem down there as well. Again, use Popka to try and ignore some of the geometry, some of the level assets, because it's quicker. Even here, just a little bit quicker to just do that. Use Popka again. The tank's going to slam into place. Oh, I went for a super bounce there and just slightly mistimed it. Luckily Popka was there to save the day. And again, I'm trying to avoid Klonoa from stopping. But because we've got Popka, and the tank is programmed to move at a certain speed at all times, so that you've always got enough time to be able to deal with it. Because we've got Popka, we are going to go so much faster than the game is expecting that the tank will never pose a threat to us. Oh, just make sure I don't... Oh, that was mean. There we go. I'll do that instead. The Irving I was trying to grab, he just floated upwards, so I couldn't get him. Grab him. Don't actually need him, so I'll throw him away. Just need to get him out of my way. Again, you should, you know, remember some of these rooms from the previous time we came through. Grab the Irving and up onto the roof. So we're going back outside, but you know, we're up on the roofs now. That's not going to be a problem. There's an invisible wall here, so I have to just go straight down. Grab another checkpoint, and oh no, the tank can fly. All right, let's keep going. Oh, slightly misjudged that jump there. That's all right. We'll still be able to get nice and far ahead. That Popka jump there is it saves so much time by just getting us to that bit a little bit quicker. And here we get an idea of how far ahead we are. There's some fire here, and that fire is being caused by the laser from the tank, but the tank should already be there before we land, but we're so far ahead of it that the tank isn't in the position it's supposed to be in. Again, use Popka, and we're going to do a little wiggle there. Klonoa's wiggle is something that we try and avoid because it's very slow, but there are some cases where we do have to use it. By just after jumping, just by holding the X button again, will cause Klonoa to do this little hover in the air, and it just allows him to reach certain heights or reach certain lengths just that little bit more. Here's the tank again. I'm hoping I can get a super jump here. Nope. Can I get a super bounce here? There we go. Actually, I don't think I wanted that one. I'm going to have to be... Normally, if I was on the normal difficulty here, I would just be... I would just be, taking whatever damage. It doesn't matter. Here, I am going to have to wait for the tank to jump again. And if this was on normal difficulty, I would just, take the hit. We're in the final room of the game, so it doesn't matter now. But nope. Hard says no. No damage for you. So we'll grab the... Oh, not the railway lines. No, it's okay. Klonoa landed on the train last time. I'm sure he'll do it this time. No, those railway lines are on fire. Or those bits aren't. The train comes from one side, the tank comes from the other side, they collide and crash, but Klonoa dodges it expertly and then does run along the tracks back to the station. So irresponsible. Alright, it's back to baggages. We can learn what we've got to do next. And I've got to say, we've not taken any deaths yet, and we have managed to procure 5 extra lives so far. This is pretty good so far. Moving on, we are going to go to our next kingdom. This is the kingdom of Mirror Mirror. It's a very snowy, very mysterious kingdom. But to get there, we've got to cross this massive lake. And to get across this massive lake, we're going to take Ishra's Ark. This is a very puzzle-heavy level. It's very pretty. It's going to introduce us to a couple of new... Made a slight error there, so I'm just going to do this. There's a worm in that cave, and you can, by using Popka, you can just tuck around it so it doesn't grab you. Grab that blue gem. Grab this move. Huh. Use the move to then get up. I've got another little a little shortcut with there we go, with Popka there. We're just high enough to skip a tree branch, which is nice. So now we're going to be introduced to one of the major puzzle enemies of the game. This enemy is called a Laquari and has a very unique property. So this is the Laquari, this yellow thing. Every time you hit an enemy with it, it gains a charge. One enemy, it will have a yellow charge. I was trying to do that without hitting the move, because that egg is an extra life. It's probably the freest extra life in the game. In other difficulties, the egg, there are extra lives just sort of scattered around, and they're relatively easy to find. On hard, they don't show up. Also, on the other difficulties, well, on easy, you have infinite lives anyway, so it doesn't matter. But on normal, if you're low on lives, extra ones will spawn for you. Oh, didn't quite make that jump. That is a very tricky jump, so I'm going to have to use Popka again there. I did mention earlier I went through the list of all the levels we're going to return to. This is the last one. We will be returning to this level later on in the game. My favourite skip of the game is in this room. We would grab this key and use Popka to get over to that moo, grab that moo, and then come back again. Unfortunately, it requires us taking damage on that moo to give us time for Popka to recharge. So we can't do it on hard. So my favourite skip in the game can't be done on this category. So now we're going to head into the engine room. There are 3 engines in Ishra's Ark, and we have to power all of them. First, we're going to power them on, and then we'll activate them with a switch later. And in order to power them up, we need to throw a red Laquari into the engine. So I'm just going to hop over there, so I'm out of the way. So here's our Laquari. So to get a red one, we need to hit 3 enemies. That's 1. That's 2. And that flying moo decided to just duck, so I couldn't hit it. Thanks, flying moo. I'll get this one second, because it's in the right position now. That's 2, and that's 3. There we go. So that now powers on the engine and activates one of the platforms. We can now use that platform to get up to the next level. We're going to do this 3 times. There will be 3 different areas. Each one will have its own engine. We'll have to power them up and then activate them. So now let's head over to the activation switch. I get a second shot at trying to get this jump right. Still didn't get it. Oh, I'm just going to wait for that explosion. There we go. So now that we're back in here, we can jump onto this platform and just use Popka, hop up there and hit the switch. That now powers on the engine, the turbine starts spinning, and we can head over to the second area of Ishra's Ark. And here we are at the second area of Ishra's Ark. It's more of the same, more the quarries, more platforming. The engine is in a room to our left there. Of course, we haven't got the key to go in there yet, so we'll go and grab that key. This one's quite short. There's not a lot going on in this one, so we'll grab the key from here and head straight back down again. Now, if you've ever seen someone run the PlayStation 2 version of this, or if you've seen any of my older videos of this, you may be asking, why aren't you interrupting the door animation? There is a trick that you can do where as soon as Klonoa starts to unlock the door, you use Popka to interrupt the animation, and it allows Klonoa to go through the door quicker. However, as recently pointed out to me, that is a bad thing to do in the Fantasy Reverie version of the game. And the reason for that is the original game didn't have a speedrun timer. You'll notice on screen there is a speedrun timer in the bottom right hand corner. This was added specifically for the Fantasy Reverie series, and that IGT only ticks when you have control of Klonoa. If at any point you lose control of Klonoa, then the IGT will pause. So whenever we're say in a cannon or going into doing a low transition, the IGT will pause. So I need to make sure that hits. It did. Lovely. Just going to quickly grab these. There we go. By using Popka there, we can completely ignore that flying moo that's on top. You're supposed to use that flying moo instead. There we go. So that's engine 2 done. We've now powered that one up. We're going to head over to the last one. Whoops. Whoops, that's going to blow. Oh. Made a slight mess of that. Never mind. We will proceed over to engine 3. So when Klonoa is opening the door, the IGT pauses because the game's taken control of him from us. If we instead interrupt that animation, if we interrupt the animation, we regain control of Klonoa and the IGT will start ticking. So it's better to let the animation play out and have the IGT pause than it is to interrupt it and control Klonoa manually. The reason why... the reason, therefore, why we do it in the PlayStation 2 version, because there is no in-game timer, we instead run the game in RTA, and it is quicker for RTA purposes to interrupt the animation and go through the door quicker. Troll moo there. Really annoying troll move. This is a room in the game where if we could get an enemy into this room, we would actually be able to finish the level quicker. There's a switch in the background there. That's the final switch, and when we hit that, the level's going to end. But unfortunately, because we have no moo there, even though we've got Popka, we just can't reach that height. But Popka plus a moo or any enemy to bounce off of would probably be enough. So, never mind. Final engine then. Relatively easy as well. Klonoa being very irresponsible. I said earlier that the Lolo, the priestess in training, is inside that ring, and there's Klonoa just throwing it up in the air whilst we're, hovering over this big chasm. I'll get him to do it again in a minute. His new friend is in this ring that he's just throwing up in the air and what if he dropped it? Chloe, she could die, and you're just throwing it up in the air like it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that's how I should have done that grab earlier. Here's a grab I should have done earlier. Huh. Now that we're going to do this lap round again, but now that we've activated the engine, some more of the area's traps and stuff has kicked in. Just wait for that to come over. Yeah. Nearly done. Final room for Ishra's Ark. It is, I think, the third longest level in the game is Ishra's Ark. The longest level is Ishra's Ark Revisited, the second version of this level. And that's the end. We are through Ishra's Ark. We are, I should point out, well past the halfway point now. Sort of the start of Ishra's Ark is about the halfway point. Not sure why it claims I lost 44 seconds there. I don't know where I lost. Gonna have to check my previous segment for that one. All right, so we've had a very, very heavy, long slog of a puzzle level. Now the game rewards us with the best slider level in the game, the best piece of music in the game. This is the Wahoo Stomp. I'm gonna let you folks enjoy. Now for my least favourite part of the entire game, where the Wahoo Stomp ends. Okay, that was Mount Mirror. Love that level, so much fun. As I say, such a wonderful piece of music for it. All right, so now that we've had our fun, it's time to relax a little bit again and just let the sights of the maze of memories seep into your mind, make you think, remind you a lot of MC Escher, and just enjoy the tranquility of such a gorgeous location. Very puzzle heavy level here. Few glitches as well, which is nice. Coming up to another skip that we can't do in a hard mode run. Here, I'm going to kill this giant crab using this herbal up like that. It does get me a bunch of gems. Usually we would just jump above it and then damage boost into that door. Unfortunately, we can't do that because, as we know, this is a hard mode run. So we're just going to have to settle for doing it the old-fashioned way. Really cool glitch here. For some reason, this Laquari can be thrown through the floor to hit that boomy. We just completely skipped a puzzle that casually, that puzzle to just work out and do casually could take you a good 5-10 minutes to work it out. Here we can use Popka to do a couple of other little skips. We got up there nice and quick, but what we're going to do here is there's an invisible barrier in the way here, and we're just going to use Popka and that herbal to jump up. And now we have this really fast, rapid skill section. So I'm going to just concentrate for a moment. Not bad, not bad. I've done better, but that wasn't bad. Very, very fast to keep your momentum up and keep going. And it's not just about grabbing an enemy and bouncing up. When you bounce off an enemy, you gain a bunch of momentum as well. So keep, making sure that you're grabbing the next enemy to keep that momentum going is really important. There's actually going to be a skip later on, which really requires that momentum gain. I'll point it out hopefully if I remember when we get there. A little way off here until we get to that puzzle. Final puzzle room of this level. This is a really cool puzzle, which again we're going to use Popka to abuse a little bit because we can get to this boomy a lot easier than we normally would be able to. Oh, wrong way. Going to take this boomy into the Laquari room, not the Laquari room, the herbal room. Drop it off, leave the room, and re-enter the room. Of course, during those load transitions, IGT has been paused, and if you ever leave a boomy in a room and then exit that room, the boomy will explode. So it exploded off screen, destroyed the block, and that was much quicker. Firstly, it was much quicker than waiting for it to explode anyway, but also because we were doing 2 room transitions during that, the IGT was paused for a decent chunk. Now we need to turn this Laquari blue, so we're going to throw it at that herbal. You've noticed I waited for the Laquari to return to my hand before I went through the door. And use Popka to skip that bit there. What you should do casually is you go and grab the boomy, take it with you to the Laquari room, then grab the Laquari and throw it at the boomy. But obviously we can skip that. Thanks to Popka. That was the Maze of Memories. I think that's another gold split. Beautiful. 8 seconds. Not bad, not bad. Next boss, and this one's a bit of a doozy. This is the only boss that you exclusively fight on your surfboard, or snowboard in this case. This is Palante the Hatchling. My community has now lovingly dubbed it KFC, which in this case stands for Klonoa Fast Chicken. The first phase of this is pretty straightforward. As you'll see, I'm going to try and get close to Palante and have enough speed to slam it. We're going to do this 3 times, and then it's phase 2 where it gets a little bit tricky. There's a big time save available if I get a certain trick right with it. So at that point, I am going to be quiet and concentrate. That was not very nice. So what's going to happen in stage 2 is we'll do the same thing again. Palante will have broken out of its shell, and it'll now be a big bird instead. And when we reach it after we've sped up, instead of oh, that was fine. Instead of slamming into it, we're going to just coast along behind it. It's going to spawn a bunch of surfing moves, and I need to throw every single moo at it in order to finish it off. If I miss just one moo, we'll have to do this in two cycles instead of just the one. And some of the moves come at you randomly. The first 2 don't, the rest do, so I'm going to concentrate. Oh. Okay, so there was no way I was going to do it in one cycle anyway. And I had to be cautious there not to take damage. Unfortunately, just grabbing that last one. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I'm going to lose a fair chunk of time for that death. I did get another shot at trying to do it all in one go, though. Nope. Unfortunately, as I say, it's completely random where the second wave of moves come at you from, which order and how fast they move. And on normal difficulty, it's not as bad because I can obviously take damage and, you know, slam through one of them. But on this difficulty, I obviously can't. So I took a huge time loss for that death. Real shame. But there's plenty of time saved left in this game. We are not out of the woods yet. So you can see that there's a bell on top of that, like, tree thing, whatever it is. Unfortunately, we didn't ring the bell. Leorina got to it first, and she rang the bell, and that has sort of sent some dark forces out into the world because the bells are very magical, mystical. She got an element, but it seems to be a bit of a dark element. So we go back to Bagaji to ask him what to do. He says, I don't know why Leorina was able to ring the bell. Only a priestess can ring the bell. You better go talk to the priestesses. So we're going to go back to the priestesses through Lalakusha, which is now Noxious Lalakusha. And so because Leorina has rang the bell, everything's, you know, the world, it's called, the level is now called the Catastrophe. So everything in the world has gone a bit pear-shaped. Just wanted to be cautious. The gimmick with this one now is whenever we're inside the caves, we have an oxygen meter. There we go. Nice and fast there. And we replenish oxygen by... Oh, I'll just jump up there. Made a little bit of a mess of that, but I should be all right. Okay, we're good. So yeah, we have what is essentially an oxygen meter. If it goes down, we will start taking damage. Obviously, because we're on hard mode. As soon as we start taking damage, we will just take a death. Oh, I actually didn't want to do that. So just gotta bounce there. Use Popka to get down here, so I don't have to jump on that other bounce pad. So we're going back inside. Oxygen meter is going to be back. The oxygen meter is never a problem. We are fast enough in this to not have to worry about it. Oh, I threw that Laquari a little too low, so we'll just wait for it to come back. There we go. Got it. That throwing that Laquari over at that gem is can be a bit of a pain. It's exactly the same trick we did in the original level there to bypass a chunk of the level. I want to be a bit careful here. I'm actually going to do this bit casually because I don't want to take a hit. Back outside, oxygen level is gone again. We're safe. He was safe for now. And we're going back inside again. Not using Popka there so that I can use him here instead. Oh, enemies haven't spawned. There we go. Now enemies have spawned. I needed that mood to spawn. Come here. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you use Popka to bounce over there, you do need to make sure that you move back to the right a little bit, because otherwise that move won't spawn. You'll miss the spawn point for it. There is a trick that can be done here to not have to go all the way over to this side to slam the pendulum, but it very rarely works, particularly on the Fantasy Reverie series. I don't know exactly why the Fantasy Reverie series made that trick harder, but it did. I think it might be because the aspect ratio and resolution. So on the PlayStation 2, we played the game in 4:3. On this, we played the game in 16:9. So it might have something to do with that. So I just don't really bother with that trick because it wastes me more time than it gains me. There we go. There's Leorina. She's now back at the Sea of Tears. She's going to ring the final bell again, and but we're going to try and stop her. A gold split, making up some of that time that we lost. So yes, back to the very first level of the game, the Dark Sea of Tears now, because well, you'll see, it's really dark now. So they use the quite on-the-nose name of Dark Sea of Tears. I'm going to use Popka to jump over. Those are my least favourite mini enemies in the game. They are horrible. I can't remember what they're called, but they suck. In the very next room, we're going to get another one of my favourite skips, and luckily this is a skip that we can do on hard. It doesn't require any damage abuse. It's the first time a viewer ever taught me a skip, which I've immediately messed up. Well, not really. And spam popka. No, not quite. No. And that is, in very quick succession, 2 lives lost. That wasn't great. Right, what I'm supposed to do here is use that to jump up. There we go, second try. All good. Now we need to wait for this armoured mood to pop over. There we go. Phew. I'll be honest, I'm more annoyed about the about losing the second life so clumsily there than about losing the first one. I'm going to use Popka to jump over that thing because it's just annoying and not worth trying to deal with. As you'll see with this, the gimmick of this level now is that it's dark, but there's these sort of blue halo enemies that sort of restore light. If I don't keep up with grabbing those, then eventually I'll take damage from the darkness. The darkness itself will actually damage me. There we go. Luckily, it takes a very, very long time for the darkness to kick in. So much so that we can actually skip some of these. Ooh, missed him. There we go. Use Popka there to get over that gap and grab some gems. Always good to grab some gems. One of the funniest rooms in the game. There's all these traps and things, and we're just going to fly over the top of the level. Just completely ignore what's going on. Here, we can just use Popka to jump up here. I am slowly burning some time here because of that, because of those 2 deaths. So I just want to try and speed up a little bit here. Grab some of those, why not? Cool. And that's the end of the level. Unfortunately, Leorina has finished preparing. She does ring the bell, and she opens up a portal to the 5th and final kingdom, the Kingdom of Sorrow, which is a long-forgotten kingdom. As you can see, the Sea of Tears has now been drained, and we are going to slowly head towards that portal. The best way of traveling through a completely drained ocean, of course, is by board. This is the Empty Sea of Tears, and this slider level is a really good sort of introduction to how the difficulty curve of the game now takes a bit of a spike upwards. Everything's a little bit more serious, but particularly with the slider levels, the previous two have been a lot of fun. You know, they've not been overly challenging, and you've kind of just sort of been swept away with how much fun they are. And you know, it's at this point where the game kind of goes to you. You know how you've been having fun with these levels? You were like trying to be good at them because you're going to need some skills now. Particularly the very final room of this level has caused me some problems in the past because I can't take damage. So here's hoping that doesn't happen this time. Just going to use Popka to just get past these enemies. Don't want to run the risk of hitting any of them. Nearly another life, which would be nice to have. So I ran this yesterday on stream, and I took a continue in this level, which I did not appreciate, and unfortunately it was right at the end of the level, so I had to then redo the whole of it. If you run out of lives and take a continue, then you are kicked back to the opening screen, the world map, and you start that level from scratch. No going back to the previous checkpoint. Which is why getting extra lives is so important. Couple more rooms to go. This room's not too bad. Make sure I jump over that spike. I've died to that spiker because I've forgotten that you can't go underneath him. Moments where these trampolines are actually helpful. Right, final room. I need to be careful. Right, it's the very, very last section. I'm going to try and grab whatever gems I can. Oh, that's a bit awkward. Right, it's this section that I hate. There's going to be some falling statues, and it's not overly clear. So now I'm going to slow right down for this one, jump over it, and use Popka to jump over the last one. That looked like I took it extremely safe, and yes, I did. If you try and storm through that, you will probably just get hit. In a normal run, as long as you've got health, you'll just tank it. You'll just keep going forwards and tank whatever damage is thrown at you. So in hard, you just slow right down. Do not mess around. We're now back at the Ark, but before we can start dealing with the Ark, we're gonna have to fight Leorina. Remember the Sky Pirate that we've seen? Yeah, she's had a bit of a makeover with her dark energy. I know it's a bit subtle. I will say the new design for her is quite subtle. Grab an herbal on the way back. Gonna let her jump. Ooh, that was pretty close. Again, a lot of RNG in this fight as well, about whether or not you can get to her in time when she jumps. Where these moves spawn, that's RNG. I'm gonna go to this one. Oh, I was a bit too fast there. There we go, that's better. So now as you see, that move spawned all the way over on the other side, so I'm gonna have to go and grab this one. But that's okay, because now I can just immediately grab this one and get to here. Last hit of stage 2.5. Sorry, last hit of stage 2. We're now going to stage 2.5, where we just have to get a couple more hits on her like we did in the first place. But now she's going to turn from white to black to show that she's even more evil and even more powerful. Where are these herbals going to spawn? Oh, one spawned right on top of me. I'm going to let her jump on me and hit her that way. You can get a hit from underneath for like when she's just stood. Oh, no, I'm not comfortable with that one. No. There we go. You can get a hit underneath her when she's just stood up, but the timing is quite precise. And I really don't want to risk taking a hit at this point. I want to make sure that I'm just doing the fight, getting it done without any issues. There we go. The magic is drained from the arena, and the arc is now drifting into... It's going to crash into this area. So we need to stop the arc. So this is the arc we visited. We're going to stop all 3 engines, and I'm looking good on lives. So I'm going to attempt 2 engine skips. I'm not going to attempt all 3 because there's one that I almost always fail anyway. So we're going to do a death warp trick, or we're going to attempt a death warp trick in this level. The engines that we're going to be switching off have 2 trigger moments. The first trigger moment is that you have thrown a boomy into the engine and an explosion has gone off. There is then a short delay before you get a second trigger for a checkpoint to be hit. So if you can take a death in between those 2 triggers, the game will recognize that a bomb has been thrown in and will progress, but we will return to the previous checkpoints. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out 2 of those flying moves. No! Unfortunately, I hadn't hit a checkpoint already, so we go right back to the start of the level. And actually, I've now taken 2 lives here, so I'm going to retry. By retrying here, we start the level afresh, and I actually have all of my lives back. The 2 lives that I just lost, I get those back because we're retrying the level from scratch as opposed to starting from that checkpoint. So I'm going to lose a bit of time here, unfortunately. But as long as I don't take a continue, there's still time to be had back. In fact, my PB split, I might have made the same mistake. I will try it again. Just got to make sure I don't get caught up in that Moose explosion like that. Alright, gonna concentrate. Hopefully I've got this right. No, I didn't. We wouldn't have got the cutscene if I got it right. So that's it. I can't try again. Once it's actually triggered, you can't try it again. So the only punishment we have there is I lost a life for the attempt. Oh, that's weird. I've not really seen that happen before. But okay. Right, so current objective now that the whole place is on fire. I'm going to play this safe and use a kit on. Could use pops to get across there, but I want to play it safe. Is just get outside before the explosion happens. So explosion happens, we get catapulted off, and Learina and Tat are now helping us because Learina feels bad. Oh, grab the Moo there. Use the Moo to bounce up to there, and then Popka to bounce up to here. So I've got a little bit of work to do to pull back some of that time. Just trying to hold on to Popka here until the very end, because I'm going to use Popka now. And grab that. Oh, crikey. Wasn't quite far up enough there. But we're good, we're fine. Thanks to Popka. going to use Popka there to jump over that gap. And ignore that guy. Need to retain Popka here so I can hop up there. Go back outside, grab. We're going to be grabbing the next key. There's the checkpoint that we would try and teleport back to, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to attempt this next skip. The reason for it is this is the most difficult of the 3 engine skips. So the death warp that I did there, you can do it 3 times. Get myself an extra life because I knew that one was there. So yeah, the death warp trick you can attempt 3 times. All 3, it works on all 3 engines, but the second one is the most. The second one is the most difficult. The timing has to be really, really fast, and it takes quite a while to take the death. I've only ever gotten the second one in a run 2 or 3 times, and with the amount of deaths, I want to be retaining lives as much as possible, so I don't take a continue in a later level. I'm just not going to attempt this one. Also, the journey back from this one isn't very long. It's a really short journey back. So this one is not only the most difficult, but it's also the least rewarding. So I have no issue with skipping that one. There we go, and we're now outside. I will attempt the third one though, because the third one is a decent time save. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. We're on this this just little bit of ooh, careful there. We do have to make sure that we don't take damage from these whatever these things are. Like it looks like they've got fruit inside them. I don't know why these things are protruding from the bottom of a boat. If anyone has any idea why these things might be protruding from the bottom of a boat, I mean, these flames, that's exhaust vents. That makes sense. But the pieces of fruit that can hurt you protruding out the bottom of a boat doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of stuff in this game that doesn't make any sense and doesn't get explained. That's another life. That's nice. We're on 8 additional lives now. Good to have. So now we're going to head back to the final engine room. This was actually the first engine that we came to in the first... When we first entered Ishra's Ark in the previous level, this is where we started the level. Use Popka here to get over to the side and just squeeze around that worm. Grab the Irving. Fly high up into the air. I'm gonna play it safe. I am gonna grab that checkpoint. This next room is a bit horrible. I really don't like this room because of reasons like that. Because it's just loads of boomies. There we go. That was a much nicer way of doing that room. So unfortunately, I lost the life that I gained earlier. Need to make sure I get this checkpoint because it's really easy to make a mess of this room. But that was really nice, actually. I was really pleased with my movement through there. Still want to be getting more gems. Well, that's a little slow. Jumped over a little too early there. One more engine to go. As you'll see, even though we've blown up the engines, the turbines don't stop. You would have thought they'd stop in the same way that they started up the previous time. Oh, there we go. I want to grab Burr. Ooh, that was probably a little closer to that explosion than I really should have been. We're just right now we're just making our way to the final to the final engine. We're going to go through the whole sort of tutorial area of the first iteration of the level before we can get to the engine. Here it is. Gonna grab this guy, because now it means that this jump here, I don't have to do. A little trick here, I'm going to use Popka and I'm going to throw that boomy, and hopefully, if timed correctly, which it was, it exploded that box. If you throw a boomy across a room, after a certain travel time, it will just explode. And that's what I did there. I threw it across the room so that it exploded in the air before it came into contact with something, but the explosion was close enough to the box to still break it. So it's a nice little time save. Oh, I'm not going to get hit by that spiker. Final engine here. And I will be attempting the engine skip here as well, because I still got 7 lives, which is should be more than enough. And this one's not too difficult, and it would be nice to get one of them in a run. So grab, throw, ooh, sugar. I'm gonna just wait that out. There we go. That I think was too slow. I think I'm too slow. Yes, I was too slow. It is a very, very tight window. And because you've got that big drop down, that's what makes that one a little bit tricky. It's like the moment that boomy leaves your hand, you gotta go. Yay, I got that trick right. I had one last attempt at that trick, and I got it right, so I'm pleased with that. Just gonna wait for Popka here, because I hate that enemy. And that is the level done. As we can see, my splits, I did have some problems, but I've now made up a huge chunk of time over my previous PV, which is really nice. We now go into the final area, the Kingdom of Sorrow. This is in the final level. We've got 2 levels and then the final boss. But this is the final kingdom of the game. Oh, don't get hit by those. This is another long level. Is the second longest level after the one we've just done. There's going to be quite a few puzzles, quite a few platforming sections, couple of glitches, which would be really nice. And it's, you know, this really somber moment in the run, and because it is, you know, we know that we're coming towards the end. I always used to find this with doing the PlayStation 2 version. I really started running this on a yearly basis, because every year around November, end of October, early November time, I do a 24-hour charity stream, and I've been doing it for 6 years now, and I always put Klonoa, or I used to, I didn't last year, I used to put Klonoa in the sort of 3 AM slot, because it wasn't complicated enough that by that time I was so tired. You know, by that time I was really tired, but it wasn't complicated enough that I couldn't do it because I was tired, but also it wasn't, you know, too simple enough that I was going to fall asleep because it was boring. It was a really good thing to just sort of keep me going through the night. And whenever I got to this level, it always sort of hit me, because it was kind of like, you know, it's this final slog. Just keep it going. You're nearly done. Come on. It doesn't feel quite so much like that these days, because I'm, you know, much more used to speedrunning and speedrunning longer times. Back then, you know, I've been speedrunning this game for on and off for about 10 years, a little over 10 years actually, but it's always been on and off. It's always been sort of, you know, just every so often, or once a year, giving it another go. It's only in the last couple of years that I've really properly gotten into speedrunning. And then since July, with the Fantasy Reverie series being released, you know, I will probably never play the PlayStation 2 version of this game again, because why would I when I can just play this version? It works. It's so much better for streaming and speedrunning. And it looks gorgeous. Looks just gorgeous. Use Popka there. Ignore the enemy. I want to try and ignore enemies as much as I possibly can. Popka there to get over them. Here, I'm going to deliberately not use Popka, just so that then I can use him here, because otherwise he wouldn't have charged in time. Here, I'm not going to use Popka until the very end, because now I want to use Popka to get past that enemy so that I just do not have any... There's no chance of him hitting me. Anytime we can mitigating risk is very important in... Oh, that was close. I've never hit that enemy like that before. This dude, I'm just going to wait. Shall I... Yay, I took a chance there. That was quite fast. That was nice. If you miss one of those, you reset and have to do the whole thing again. So it's a real pain in the butt. I hate that puzzle. It's my least favourite puzzle of the entire game, just because it's a skill that you've not had to use in the game at all. You've not had to throw a Laquari at moving targets in the background before. It's really random that it adds it. This room's a little bit annoying as well, just because it's time consuming. And again, it's not really a showcase of skill, but it's not as bad as the first one. Alright, this room is very slow. There's not a lot going on in this room. Do you want to try and get some of these gems, though? Sorry, dreamstones. Because the very next level we're going to do, the second to last... Well, the last level in the game, there is the final boss afterwards. The very last level in the game, it is very easy to get lots of dreamstones. So much so that if I end this level, probably I might already be at a state with it in this level. Where I can pick up 2 extra lives in the next level. Which would be really sweet. Ignore that, dude. There isn't really a quick way of doing that bit. Back inside again. And it is funny how, even though this is the last traditional platforming level of the game, we're still being introduced to new enemies. You know, these boomerang enemies, we haven't seen them before. And there's still another new enemy that we're going to be introduced to in a moment. Though it will look a little familiar. Grab that dude. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Parody. Do do do. I love that adorable little clunk sound of Klonoa's skull connecting with the hard stone piece there. There's a nice little skip here, which I'm going to hopefully get. I'm going to drop back down to here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very nice. I talked about momentum ages ago, and I said that there was going to be a skip coming up later that requires momentum of pushing upwards, and that was it. You can't do that skip by you saw that I dropped down to the lower lum. That pink thing, I call them lums. I dropped down to the lower one and then jumped up to grab the next one because it gave Klonoa momentum to keep him going. This is the other enemy that's introduced. It's a Keton, but it's a gold Keton. They just last longer. Haven't seen them anywhere else in the game. There's only a couple of them. Final room of the game, and I'm going to attempt a skip that I've only ever gotten right once. in a run. I haven't got it right yet. I'll try it one more time. I needed to stop. No, I'm not gonna. No, the platform won't have spawned. I'm not gonna try it again. So, there's two triggers there, and if you can get over the top of the second trigger. Sorry, if you can get over the top of the first trigger, because I hit the first trigger, which pushed me back into the previous room. If you can get over the top of that one, and I landed on a position, and if you only go over to the left just slightly, then you will hit that trigger. There we go. One bounce. Two bounce, we can go and finish the level. There we go. Right, hopefully that should have been a massive... Compared to my PB, that should be a massive time save. Yeah. Alright, not a massive one. But you know, you get the idea. Forgotten Path is next. So yeah, if you can get over the top of the trigger to go back to the previous room and just drop down to the side, you will wrap around the room to the edge, to the other edge, and you'll just finish the level. But I've only ever gotten that in a run once. I really should be grabbing these gems, because I'm very close to an extra life. In fact, just because I've missed a couple, I might not be able to get 2 extra lives here. This is we're coming up to the final boss, and it's the final boss here that is really the major reason I have wanted to have so many extra lives. The final boss, there are 2 completely different sections of the final boss. We're gonna fight. We're gonna do a bit in a board section where we're, we're on this board like we are now. And then there's going to be a second area where we fight him in the sort of traditional ring area. The second half is very, very tricky, particularly without taking damage. So I need to be very careful with it. The thing is if I take a death in the second section, we don't have to redo the first section. However, that wasn't very nice. Shouldn't be losing time on this level. That was I need to clearly concentrate a little bit more. It's another life lost and a little bit of time gone. So yeah, if I take a death in the second section, then I won't have to redo the first section. So ideally, I want to get through the first section without any problems, then get into the second section where I've then got all of my lives prepared. So if I do take a death, because it is tricky, I can get through it. Now my PB splits that I'm running against, I did take deaths and continues in the final boss. That's where a big final chunk of time save is going to come from. And if I can do it without taking a continue, then I will be submitting this, because that's what I've wanted. It's automatically the world record because no one else has done this category yet. But I really wanted to... I really didn't want to submit until I got a run with 0 continues. Not 0 deaths. I'm not gonna... I mean, a 0 deaths run would be amazing, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. There's always going to be mistakes. This is a tricky run. Klonoa is not a very difficult game, but hard is a really good addition to make it that little bit trickier. Yeah, I don't think now there's enough blue gems and the rest of the... Not without taking a deviation, and I don't want to take a deviation. Oh, wow, I'm going to be 3 gems short. Yeah, if I just got one of those blue gems right at the start, I'd have had another life. 3 gems short, and there's no gems in the bosses. I may have taken a death during my PB, because I haven't lost any time. Oh, wow. I think that's because my splits were incorrect. Kingdom of Sorrow took a lot longer than it shows on there, and my splits weren't correct. Final boss, then. Here we go. One other thing I will be doing, like I did back in the Ark Revisited, if I do take a death in this section, so this is the first stage, if I do take a death in here, then I will retry to get that life back so that I'm not losing any lives in here. I'm getting some... The game is stuttering a little bit. I'm hoping it eases up. But I'll just have to manage. So far, so good. Oh. Wasn't quite ready for that. Oh, nice. Oh, get out of the way. I do not want to take... nearly done with this with this section. One more hit and we're through stage 1 without any problems. Oh, he was mean. Yes! That's first half of the boss done. We're not out of the woods yet. We've got the second stage. This stage is a lot trickier. I have 6 lives to do it without taking a continue. Here we go. Good RNG. No! It's okay. That's 1 life. So even the bits that I'm trying to hit here can can damage you as well. I'm gonna have to do this bit in 2 stages, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna lose it. You can... No! Oh, come on. Okay, that's halfway through it. Come on. This is it. Missed. No, I wasn't. Oh, I was so focused on the first bit. Come on. Can still do this. Sub 120 with 0 continues. It's still doable. The other one dropped first. It's 1 broken. This is it. This is it. This is it. Yes! 117.29 with 0 continues. We're done. I finally done it. Klonoa 2, any percent hard on support mode with no continues. 117.29. Rough finish. But I've finally done it. Oh, that's the world record. I mean, as long as it was a PB, it was going to be a world record anyway. Yeah. Oh. I've been trying for like a little over a week, constantly trying to get this run done with no continues. So pleased that I finally managed to do it. For just to fully verify the time, we have to go back and load the save that I created at the start, because that will now show the clear time. Live split is accurate, although that is only is 5 milliseconds away, so just in case there is any inaccuracies, we should go back and check it just to be on the safe side. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this run. It's been there's been problems with it. There's still plenty of time save. I don't think my sum of best segments down below there is accurate. There's a couple of splits there that have some issues, so I will need to have a look at that. But yeah, you know, the next step with this would be sub 115, which I think could be done quite easily. There's plenty of time save, particularly that final boss didn't go that well, but at least I got it in without taking a continue. That was the important thing. So yeah, it's been so good getting back into Klonoa 2, picking up 2 categories that I haven't done before. On the PS2, there was only, there was only the one category I ever did, which was any percent support mode. There were no difficulties on the PS2. I'd run that all the way for 10 years, and then when I picked the Fantasy Reverie series up, I continued to only do that category. Even there's loads more categories that have been created. There is a 100% category which requires you to get 150 Dreamstones in every level as well. But the other categories that I picked up now is now hard, because the difficulty's there, but also the All Visions category, which is a relatively new category that got created. Huge thanks to another runner called Neil Legend for pushing that category and for getting it created. As I said before, that category is you have to complete the 2 additional bonus levels, but you can only unlock those bonus levels by getting every single Momet doll piece in the game. So that's really interesting, adds to the exploration. I haven't tackled that on hard yet. I've only tackled it on normal. I'm not looking forward to tackling it on hard at some point, but I will eventually. Yeah, it's been such a delight getting back into Klonoa again. I've been running it for the past couple of weeks pretty solidly to try and get some submission videos for GDQ, because SGDQ submissions 2023 are currently open. I will be submitting this run as well as my normal any percent and normal All Visions runs. To the best of our knowledge, Klonoa 2 has never been in a GDQ. Klonoa 1 has a couple of times, but Klonoa 2 hasn't, and with this remaster, the timing of it's the perfect time for Klonoa 2 to finally make its debut. So I do hope it happens, and obviously I hope it's me. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Klonoa 1 submission. Klonoa 1 from this is much more commonly run than Klonoa 2. I wish there was more Klonoa 2 runners, but I'm glad that I'm pushing the categories again and getting people interested. It's a really, really good game, and I'd highly recommend just playing it. Even if you don't want to speedrun it, it's a fantastic casual playthrough. It's a lot of fun. It's an unsung gem of the PlayStation 2 era. So we're going to continue, and there we go. Just to confirm, 1 hour, 17 minutes and 29 seconds. That is my IGT. That is the world record for this category. Thank you very much for watching. Please go and check out one of my other videos. I've got the other runs. I've got some old PS2 runs on here as well if you'd like to see those. If you want to watch me do these live, or any of the other games that I run live, check me out, twitch.tv/NickRPGreen. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday night, and occasionally at weekends. Thank you so much for watching. Check out another video, and I hope you have a pixel perfect day. I say that because I'm a member of the Pixel Perfect events team, and that's how we close things.